Okay. Happy New Year, everyone. Today is January 14, 2021. Make that in the agenda. This is our first meeting of the year of the Civil and Human Rights Commission, and we have some updates, including our department name that we look forward to. Before we do roll call as part of our welcome, I did want to just say thank you to everyone for taking the time to be here today and for embarking on what's going to be a very busy and historic year for this commission. You can't live in LA County and LA City and not be affected by the COVID pandemic and the economic pandemic that's happening. And so I'm sure like me, many of you are experiencing family members going through tough times. So I just want to acknowledge that I know that you're probably going through a tough time, and I appreciate your commitment to being here today and for the work ahead this year. And if there's anything we can do, that I can do to make this time better, healthier, more collaborative, I'm here for that, as I know our whole team is. So with that, Happy New Year, and I'll turn it over to Jamana for roll call.
Thank you, Commissioner. So roll call, Commissioner Araceli Campos.
Present.
Commissioner Leslie Ivy.
Here.
Commissioner Aziza Hassan. Commissioner Montes.
Present.
Commissioner Ortiz. Commissioner Parker. Commissioner Zelensky.
Here.
And I believe we do have a quorum.
Wonderful. Okay, so to begin, let's begin with public comment, if there is any.
So I'll go ahead and read the instructions for public comments, just in case members of the public would like to leave to participate in public comments. Members of the public who wish to offer audio public comment can call in at 1-669-254-5252 and use meeting ID number 160-788-9393 followed by the pound sign. Participants will be asked to press pound again to continue. To raise your hand on the phone call to give public comment, press *9 on your phone keypad. Again, that number is 1-669-254-5252. Meeting ID number 160-788-9393. Speakers are limited to a maximum of 1 minute of general public comment regarding matters within the jurisdiction of the Commission, and 1 minute on a single agenda item, or 2 minutes on multiple agenda items for a maximum of 3 minutes. And I do see somebody in the waiting room. Let me, we have a caller with the number ending in 732. Caller with the number ending in 732. Do you wish to make a public comment?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Do you wish to make a public comment?
Oh no, I'm fine. I just want to be connected to the meeting. I was disconnected earlier.
Okay. Are you a member of the general public?
I am.
So you may listen to the meeting at this number, and that is 213-621-2489. If you dial that number, you'll be able to listen to us via audio.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Is that number also on the agenda?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. So I missed. I listed that out. Oh, okay. I see it. 213-621-2489.
That is correct.
Oh, thank you so much. So sorry.
Thank you for calling in. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. And I don't see any other callers on the line, Commissioners, so I will turn it over back to you.
Okay, thank you. And let's note for the record, in case it wasn't stated, we commenced the meeting at 2:11 p.m. Thank you. And we have our approval of the minutes. Has everyone had the opportunity to review the minutes from November 2020, November 12, 2020? If there are any edits or other changes, please let us know now. And if not, if we can please have a motion to accept.
This is Commissioner Zielinski, and I move to accept the November 12, 2020 minutes.
Thank you. We have a motion to accept from Commissioner Zielinski. Any second?
I'll second Commissioner Montes.
Thank you, Commissioner Montes, for your second. All in favor? I'll turn it over to Jemana for a vote.
Thank you so much. I will go ahead and do the roll call. Commissioner Campos?
Accept.
Commissioner
Yes.
Ivey?
Accept.
Commissioner Zielinski?
Yes.
Commissioner Montes?
Yes.
And all in favor, motion passes.
Okay, great. So the bulk of this meeting will be a very substantive report from our fearless, dedicated executive director, Katrina Maddox. So I will turn it over to her. And I know you did not really get a holiday break like some of us. So thank you for your tireless work. We look forward to what the updates are, as I know there's many since November. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Commissioner Campos. Really grateful to be here and to see all of our commissioners. I was having printer issues, and I was having my neighbor print it for me and bring it over. So we may have a little doorbell ringing happening here soon, but I can pretty much go through everything that we have. If I can just share my screen, that would help me. If Nicole and I can have access to share a screen, that would be.
Oh, sorry about that.
That would help us a great deal. It's okay.
Yes, I will give just a moment. I will give Nicole access.
You can give it to me and Nicole, or even just one of us.
Yep, Nicole has it, and I will also make you a co-host as well. Here we go. And we can, Capri, you're on mute.
And can you see my screen? Okay,
Thank you. All right, so we're going to scroll down the screen quickly. I'm just going to go off of this one instead of trying to look at both screens. Let's just go ahead straight into the document. Of course, we've had some accomplishments in this space as it relates to commission support. We're really grateful that we're moving forward to get the Commission on Civil Rights up and going. I'm very, very grateful for Heather Aubrey from the City Attorney's Office for helping us in this space. I think it is particularly important to know that we will be launching this effort as relates to our discrimination enforcement by, I believe, early spring at the latest. And it is really great that we aren't where we want to be, but we aren't where we used to be as it relates to moving forward with this agenda. I don't have to give you guys some of the delays that we faced as it relates to being approved by City Council as it relates to our budget, but we were approved right before Thanksgiving, and we are so grateful for that. I think, you know, when we talk about the other commissions and how they blend with us, I think they've been, you know, really helpful to us in this space. I think we need to definitely be able to move forward as it relates to the enforcement piece. We have so many needs as it relates to things that are happening in Los Angeles at this time. I want us to also just take into consideration some of the things that are happening in general in Los Angeles. You don't have to, you know, only live in Los Angeles to, you know, kind of feel the magnitude of the times that we're living in with the incidents that happened, you know, just, you know, last week at the Capitol, including which led up to the impeachment that happened yesterday. We know that hate is on the rise in America, and discriminatory practices are something that a lot of folks have been dealing with for quite some time, but they're even more rampant now. It is essential for us to really get our enforcement arm up and going. We did go before full City Council as it relates to our budget. We were successful in actually getting the department created. And you may notice at the top of our screen here, we have a newer name, and the newer name added the word equity. And I have extreme apologies to some of our commissioners that actually changed the name of our commission to not have the same name as the department, and the department name changed anyway. But we are all about equity. We're all about inclusion. We're all about diversity in the Civil, Human Rights, and Equity Department. We have pretty much abbreviated that name, and we pretty much refer to ourselves as the LA Civil Rights Department, just to give a little bit of brevity. And with our comms expert on board, we all agreed that that was the best label. And of course, you guys know that we had our Twitter handle donated to us, and the Twitter handle allowed us an opportunity to, you know, feel comfortable with using at Civil Rights. I'm really pleased that we actually have our office, you know, our offices are being set up. We're working as we move forward on a number of fronts. And I think having the ability to, you know, highlight some of the benefits that we've seen over the last few months as it relates to the department. So Nicole, I want you to know I cannot look at my notes and the screen. So I'm going to simply allow you to move the pages. I wanted to be intentional to talk to you guys about what happened in City Council. We did get approval. We were initially asking for 25 positions. We did get approval for 14 of them, and hopefully we'll be able to hire somewhere between 4 and 7 of them. That's not news we want to hear, but I don't have to tell you that we have so much need in the city, and the city budget is, you know, really suffering due to the coronavirus. I want to talk to you guys about a couple of the accomplishments as it relates to the department. And Nicole, you can go to a different screen because I'm going to talk about the PPEs and some of the events that we have dealt with over the last few weeks. The PPE donations are something that we're really, really proud of. We have a number of donations and face shields that are coming in as it relates to the COVID crisis. We also hosted a youth engagement roundtable, and we have a few people that are on payroll with us. I think Jamana and the folks from the housing department have actually ported over to join us on payroll. And under normal circumstances, I wouldn't say that's a big accomplishment, but it was really hard to do that transition. Really wanted to, you know, highlight also that Mark has started with us. He's currently, sorry guys. Can you guys just give me just sorry about that. Someone was actually bringing me my notes so I can actually handle both screens now. So we actually had an opportunity to have assistance from Mark as it relates to our comms space. Wanted to appreciate Jillian for helping us as well. Really excited about the ability to help some of our folks in need. As you know, our policy equity lens piece allows us an opportunity to create options for people that are dealing with the COVID crisis. And when we think about this space, we have a number of challenges that people are facing, particularly folks that have, they're essential workers basically, and they don't have some of the tools they need to deal with the COVID crisis. When you think about COVID equity, for example, we have an opportunity to help folks that are really suffering, that are essential workers that don't have the PPEs they need. They don't have the ability to, you know, get food. I mean, when you think about someone that's catching the bus on a regular basis and trying to, you know, deal with the COVID crisis, like who in the family would actually have to catch the bus to get the food, to bring home, you know, food for the entire family that is quarantined. So we actually work to bring food distributions to high needs communities. And we did this with the partnership through Homeboy Industries, Community Build, USC, and the Brotherhood Crusade. One of our big partners in this space was the mayor's office, Department of Aging, and Project Angel Food to help us with the meal distribution program. I think the other highlight that we could say is our website really went live since we met in November, and Mark has also helped us in that space. Wanted to let you know that if you need to find us on social media, we are on Twitter and Instagram under LA Civil Rights. The things that I think we should talk about soon too is that we had an opportunity to have a youth roundtable where we had a number of young folks that came together to talk about, you know, how we can create some of our programming. In this space, we had a number of students that went through the youth engagement program. And I really wanted to shout out Sheldon Cruz. I don't know if he's on the call now, but I definitely wanted to, you know, acknowledge his work in this space, because we have young people that really are part of the solution and to making things better. And I think one thing I'm really proud of is that we have students in the foster care system that have been helping us in a substantial way on this effort. Really excited that we're going to have 4 paid interns join us from USC. Those folks will start on January 21st. I know that Nicole interviewed 2 of them today, and we'll interview 2 of them later on this week. So I'm really grateful that we have 4 paid interns for the entire year of 2021. We need that support. Part of them, part of this, the group will be working on the legal side, and part of them will be working on some of our commission support. So you'll be seeing some of those friendly faces. One thing that I really wanted to share is, now that I can actually see this screen, is the COVID, in addition to some of the other COVID equity work we did, we had the vaccine equity committee work that we've been working on. And I think it's important to know that our voices are being heard with LA Public Health as it relates to the rollout for that effort. I would also like to talk about the discrimination and enforcement. And I'm just going to yield the floor for just a second to Jemana and jump back to talk about our council members in a minute. But on discrimination enforcement, definitely we're going to launch this spring. We have the city ordinance that is being put together. We've seen a couple of drafts of it. Again, we can't thank Heather Aubrey enough for her work in this space. And to that end, as we think about our legal operation, we have named our director of enforcement from our team. Jemana is someone that has helped us. We're clapping and snapping for you, Jemana. Jemana is someone that has been a great asset, the leader for our civil rights commissioners, but to help us in this space as we set things up. Love the partnership that she has developed through my beloved alma mater, Pepperdine University. They're going to help us with our mediation. She has worked tirelessly to get things going in this space, even on her days off. And I wanted to especially thank her and others from our team that even helped us as we went through the budget process. She was able to garner a great deal of support in this space. So I'm gonna yield the floor for just a moment for Jemana to say a few words to you, and then I'm gonna jump back and talk about our new council folks and the changes to the IACRE committee.
Thank you so much, Capri, and I'm truly honored and humbled and really grateful to be in this space. I know this work is incredibly important, especially when we're at a moment where we are really fighting for the soul of our country and for the soul of who we are as a society. And so I'm just humbled and absolutely grateful and looking forward to be working with all of our commissioners and our entire team and all of our partners and those who have been advocates for this work. As Capri noted, we are right now building our discrimination enforcement arm, and this really also means building our day-to-day operations. As Capri noted, we're working closely with Heather Aubrey, who's also the counsel to our department, so that the process that as we are developing it is reflective of the charter and the ordinance and is guiding our legal enforcement parameters. We're also working with our ITA in developing our case management app, which will allow us to oversee the process and will help us to streamline our day-to-day operations and our flow of our cases. At this time, working through January and February to do a lot of the development with our aim to launch this in March. And Capri introduced Mark on our team, who will also be working with us so that in March, we're able to fully launch with our website online, ensuring that our material are culturally and linguistically appropriate and accessible so that we could promote the local operation to the communities who are in most need. And we, as we move forward towards the launching point, we will also be working closely with Mark and our team and under the leadership of Capri Maddox to put out this social media campaign and to roll out and promote our enforcement division. So it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of really exciting work. And I just couldn't be any more grateful and happier to be doing this work alongside our incredible team here and under the leadership of Capri and working with all of you on this commission. So I turn it back over to you, Capri. Thank you.
Thank you, Jemana. We are so grateful for you and your leadership in this space. I think, and I love that she's, really putting together some substantial, putting in substantial work in this space. Wanted to alert some of you to the fact that we found we have new council members on our city council. Just wanted to acknowledge that we have Nithya Raman, that's over in Council District 4. We have former Supervisor Mark Lee Thomas, that's now the councilman for Council District 10. I think it's important to know that in all things that happen, recently we actually were able to learn that we have a new council member that's going to be in charge of the Immigrant Affairs, Civil Rights, and Equity Committee. And that's a city council committee. And what that means for us is we have new leadership in this space. We really, really appreciate the work that Councilmember Gil Cedillo did to help us get our department up and going, and to even approve the ordinance. And I think Councilman Cedillo and Councilman Wesson were like the two champions that really pushed this agenda forward. And so although we will not have Councilmember Cedillo as the chair of our city council committee, we will have him as a member. And I'll go down the list of the members quickly. We have, of course, Kevin DeLeon as our chair. The vice chair will be Kern Price, our council member for the 9th district, Mitchell Farrell, council member for the 13th district, Gil Cedillo again, council member for the 1st district, and council member Rahman, and she is the council district for the 4th district. Want to go down the list and at least talk to you guys about some of our media work that we are doing. And I think it's really important for us to know that as we move our agenda forward for our 4 pillars of our department, you should know that we have issued some recent statements. We have I just did an interview with KPCC recently to talk more about the department and some of the follow-up now that we've actually been funded. We also have issued statements in the press as it relates to some of the challenges that we're facing as a nation, and even in Los Angeles, specifically even in the downtown Los Angeles area. We had a hate crime that happened on January the 6th. And it is really, upsetting that a woman, a downtown resident, was faced with, the fact that she can't walk down the street in her own neighborhood without, being assaulted and having her wig snatched off. And, I think she was pepper sprayed and hit with objects. It's just, really tough to know this happens anywhere, but to happen like literally in our own backyards was something that was really, disturbing. And I think that the partnerships that we have with the Human Relations Commission that focuses on hate incidents and the prevention of hate incidents is something that's really important, because again, hate and discrimination pretty much, go hand in hand. And I'm very grateful that we're all together in the same department in this space to address it. Want to tell you that, of course, we've, done some media things, but it's not so much for us as it is to get the word out for what we're doing. Another thing that is important to know is that we have a media event that's going to happen on Channel 35. It'll be taped on the 28th. And it's important to know that this is actually for our immigrant community that's dealing with the COVID crisis. And, there are just certain resources and tools that people need to know and exactly what to do. One concern that we've had in general as it relates to the policy equity lens is the fact that we don't have the ability to let people know exactly what to do when they're facing COVID. We're talking about, of course, we gave out thermometers, but having more of a toolkit and working on some food resources. But I want you to know that in addition to that, the mayor's office is actually looking at other ways to serve communities that are facing COVID, because like I said, you don't want people catching the bus to go to the store if they have COVID, but they may not only need food, they may need diapers, they may need formula. And so there may be other essential items, feminine hygiene products. There are other things that people may need. And so for some of the essential things, we want to be able to provide those to communities in need as well. We've been able to secure, as I said earlier, some PPE donations, and the Ford Foundation is going to donate probably somewhere between 2 million and 5 million PPE items to the city that we will be able to be involved in helping to disperse with the mayor's office. We are really excited about that. But we have some high schoolers that used a printer, 3D printer, to actually make face shields. And I think it's just going to be a few hundred of them, but I just want to let you know that we have so many people that are leaning in this space to help us when we talk about the equity partnerships. And then of course, like I said earlier, the food program, which was a partnership with the Mayor's Office, Department of Aging, and the Project Angel Food folks. I think it's important to also know that I'm gonna, share a couple of folks that I've actually met with since the holiday break, but I want to be able to yield the floor to ask a few questions and to answer a few questions. This is a short list of some of the speaking engagements and things that we've been involved in. As you probably know, I have about maybe, at least on average 7 meetings a day, but these are a few meetings to kind of like, and I can highlight the screen just a little bit more. And we'll actually put a note on this document to let you know that this is just, some of our recent meetings that we just want to highlight. These aren't all the meetings we've had. But I think it's important to know that we are a voice with a number of entities, in some of whom are operating in this space. And I'll just touch on them quickly. We have the anti-racism, diversity, and inclusion team that is moving forward with LA County. And it is important to know that we have been involved with LA County's anti-racism department in the creation. And I'm really, looking forward to working with their executive director, D'Artagnan. I think it's important to know that we had the LA County Human Relations Commission United Against Hate Week, and who knew how important that would be. It's always important, but I mean, based on what's happened in January, to launch that and to talk about, how we can, stop hate in Los Angeles with a united front of maybe like 80 representatives from a variety of groups was something we were really honored to be a part of. We had, of course, mentoring with Los Angeles Unified School District, and then working on ways that we can possibly collaborate with the Western Justice Center, particularly as it relates to like potential mediation programs once we get our legal arm up and going. The next thing I wanted to talk with you about, of course, is the Vaccine Equity Committee. We've been working on that. We've actually been instrumental in making sure the Department of Disability, our transgender community, as well as our Muslim communities are involved in that process as well. So we were really happy to bring those 3 new groups to help us with LA County's rollout of the vaccine. Wanted to just jump down quickly, and I won't highlight all items, but I wanted to highlight the Fuse Fellows program. We may be getting a Fuse Fellow to help us in our department. We've been working on this probably for maybe 6 months, but the Fuse Fellow could help us with some of our equity pieces in our operation. We are extremely grateful, for Nicole's work on that grant and that application process. And actually, while I'm talking about grants, I would like to say that a number of people on our team, Jamana and Nicole and Tammy, and I think a couple of others, Donisha Beavers, another one of our volunteers, is actually submitting a grant application today to the Public Rights Project to see if we can get one of their legal fellows. It'll be an attorney that has maybe like 2 to 5 years of experience that would also help us within our enforcement arm of our operation. Wanted to just bump over quickly to talk about the couple of meetings that I just wanted to highlight. Again, these aren't all the meetings for the 3 months, but these are a few that I wanted to highlight. Of course, always working with Coro of Southern California, talking with them about our department's And we had a couple of folks that are interested in helping us out. Of course, many of them are doing their placements now. We weren't in a position to actually have a Choral Fellow help us. And some of you guys know what Choral Fellows are. They're folks that are interested in, it's kind of like almost like a graduate program. My husband's actually an alum of the choral program, and they do 3 placements. They put folks in the business arena, government, and what's the other sector that they put folks in? Nonprofit. So I think it's important to know that every year we, get a new batch of folks that wind up in government in many capacities, in a variety of capacities from the core program, but we have some that are interested in working with us or helping us or volunteering with us. Wanted to tell you that the Granada Hills North Neighborhood Council met with me this week. I think it's important to know that they actually were dealing with some discriminatory comments with that neighborhood council, and it's come up with a number of neighborhood councils over the years. It is an honor that we will maybe be able to work on some anti-bias training for our neighborhood councils, because things have been getting hostile in the neighborhood councils for actually quite some time, especially with the bullying and the cyberbullying. So Jamana is working with the general manager of the neighborhood council, of the neighborhood councils, which is actually called the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. And that is the department that actually is in charge of the neighborhood councils. Wanted to let you know that the Korean consulate contacted us, and they're really interested in having some collaborations, particularly with the African-American community, to share some of the updates and basically the journey of 30 years of African-American and Korean-American relationships in Los Angeles. And I think sometimes we take things for granted that, relations with those two communities are, have improved over the years. But I think we need to think about where we were in Los Angeles in 1991 with the Korean and African-American population and where we are now. And that may be something that we'll roll out definitely for a larger event in April, perhaps. Wanted, of course, KPCC, we did a recent interview, and of course, working with LA County Bar Association on making sure that we have relationships with our legal community. You should know that LA County Bar was very helpful with the mentoring program that I did with LAUSD, and perhaps I'm interested in actually talking with them in great detail in the future about maybe helping us as it relates to our enforcement arm or some other significant part of our department. Wanted to give you guys some good news as it relates to our future workspace. Some of you are familiar with the fact that we have our workspace that will happen at down in the LA Mall. And this is what it will look like one day when you come down the escalator from Main City Hall. However, right now, it's an empty room and it's under construction. And as you can see from our notes, we're like 7 to 9% complete. You have to celebrate all victories. If you only knew, even to get I'd celebrate the day we broke ground just as much as I would celebrate the day we opened the doors, because actually I think it was harder to get it started than to, have things all work out. One thing I wanted to share with you all to keep our plumbing team in your thoughts and prayers. We've slowed things down a bit because some of the folks that are working on the plumbing have suffered from COVID, had some COVID challenges. So I wanted to let you know that things have slowed down just a minute for those folks, but more so than the timeline of the project. I just wanted us to, take note and a pause for those folks that work hard for a living that are suffering from an illness, that we all, you know, are having to deal with in one way or another, as Commissioner Campos said earlier, through our families. And the other thing that I think we'll do, and I can hold the screen for later on, is wanted to just say one quick thing about Councilman Tom Labonge. And actually, we also lost Councilwoman Flores over the holiday break as well. Wanted to definitely acknowledge her and her leadership. When you think about Joan Milky Flores was a councilwoman many, many years ago, but her daughter, Valerie Flores, continues to be a champion and a representative of her leadership, because Valerie Flores is in charge of our general counsel for the city attorney's office, and is very involved in helping council make a lot of important decisions. However, very recently we lost Councilmember Tom Labonge, and I just wanted to share with you that on January 2nd, Councilmember Labonge reached out to me and said, I was watching Channel 35 and something came on, some rerun about your department. And he took pictures of the screen, by the way. And, you know, Councilman Labonge was not one to shy away from pictures. And he said, I'm excited about the new department. I want to help. How can I help? I'll contact you next week to see about meeting. And he sent that to me like on the evening of January the 2nd. And I sent a reply back the next morning. And unfortunately, we did not connect to get all of his ideas, but I let him know I was excited and I was grateful for his work. And so although he was a retired councilman as of 2015, he was still very involved to help and was excited about the work that was going to come from our department. I know we may be adjourning in his honor, and I'll pull the screen back up then, but I wanted to stop the share and answer some questions. And again, please forgive the bumpy start. I just had so much to share and I didn't have my notes to start with, so I can give you more details now. Questions? Commissioner Campos? Do you have a question?
Well, first, sure, I think it's a lot. Congratulations on moving forward. I know we'll be, and I know you continue to think about growing our budget so that we can grow our resources, grow our team, especially as we grow out the enforcement division. I think more, so I'm curious about what your thinking is or your plans are, if there's ways that we can be helpful. And then I think for this particular commission that is rolling out this year and in the next few months, how can we be helpful to the rollout? There's so much work that's in the department, and I think it would be helpful for us to really know and understand what's our part in this commission alone. What's our ownership piece that we're accountable for, and that we should really focus on to make sure that there's not too much diffusion of responsibility, so that we really know this is ours. We need to make sure it's set up as successful as commissioners. Though I know the whole department is doing great work. What's our piece? What are we? What's our marching orders? Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, thank you so much, Commissioner. And there are a couple of ways. One, as we start to form, we will actually be contacting some of you, but based on your expertise. As we build out the legal arm of the operation, we actually just, Jamana went over a draft document of how we will actually put all that is in the civil rights ordinance, kind of like even on a flow chart for us to kind of understand it. And that's something that you guys will probably see, if not before our next meeting, at our next meeting, where we kind of will show you like the step 1, step 2, step 3. What the ordinance specifically says the commissioners would do is, once the cases are ready for review, especially as it relates to settlements, our commissioners will weigh in on whether or not the punishment, whether it's you know, a small fine or a larger fine, or if it's just something that's settled in mediation, if that is an appropriate remedy for the incident that happens. And it could be, you know, something like denial of a public accommodation, like telling someone you can't come into this restaurant or grocery store because of your race. Or it could be denying someone an opportunity to have the housing opportunity based on their citizenship status. And so it is really important to know that when folks come with those complaints, that we have a body that will be able to accept the remedy and say, okay, maybe it was a bad manager that was on duty that night, and that's all it was. And we're gonna deal with that person with discipline, and we're also, as a entity, are gonna do a mediation. And if that is something that is approved, or we may be in a situation where we may even have a settlement as far as a financial remedy, the commissioners may weigh in and say that remedy is not enough to meet, you know, it's the incident was so egregious that that, you know, that small fine was not enough. So that is the official role, which is really why we want to get this up and going. As I explained in many other meetings, we were not in a situation where we could take on cases without having a budget, because we at least needed, even though we're going to have to rely on some volunteers, we could not take on cases and not have some staff and actually officially created department. I don't have to tell you how many challenges that could be for us, you know, in the future. So now that we were funded, and we were only funded as of December 1st, when the mayor actually signed us into office and signed us into actually having an official department. We were approved by City Council for our budget, and the mayor couldn't sign us, couldn't create the department until City Council approved it. So City Council approved us right before the Thanksgiving holiday. So now we're moving forward. Although we've been doing some things in the department, it was really important for us to be sure to be official before we started taking cases. So it's almost like we started last month, but thanks to us working behind the scenes and having things ready, we will be able to actually launch the enforcement by March. And we will be contacting a couple of you all to, you know, get some of your opinions as it relates to the rollout. The one thing that I think you all can help us with as we move forward, particularly as I look at Mark on the screen, is that you all will be our ambassadors. So I know you all were seated even a year before I was hired. So I know you're like ready to go. And I can assure you that Mark has big plans for you once we actually have the rollout of our Civil Rights Commission and our hearings, our legal remedies moving forward, because we'll need to have people working with the community to kind of be the face of this operation, to say, this is what we're doing, and to make sure that we actually have a caseload. And I think we will. We already have a number of people that unfortunately we've had to turn away because we don't have those, we weren't up and operational on the legal arm until, and we won't be until March. So I appreciate the question. I really do. And I appreciate you guys' patience in this space. And I think, are there any other questions? Commissioner Artis.
Any other questions? I would just say for those who, I know there's different components that you'll be reaching out to people for input on from the commission, like, you know, what's the best practice, what are best practices for intake process, for case review, for making marketing, you know, culturally appropriate, linguistically appropriate, like what are ways, you know, I mean, outreach strategies, things that partner strategies. So I think maybe one thing I would encourage commissioners to do is to make it known what you would like to inform, maybe your area of expertise, because sometimes people have so much in their background or that that they don't even put on their resume, and people don't know. Maybe as a volunteer, you do legal clinics, or you do marketing things or media, and maybe to let the staff team know that that's the case, so that you're plugged in. A lot of the work from this commission, it sounds like, will be happening in between meetings because their team is setting up the department. So I think commissioners, if you could proactively reach out to Capri and let her know. Another thing that I've been thinking about, because I am chairing these meetings, is until we get to a point of handling cases and adjudication, what is the as in another way of saying it is, until we get to action items on our agenda, what is the best use of these meetings? More normally you have meetings with, you vote on action items, and for us it would be adjudicating cases. And so until we get there, what would be valuable to do at these meetings? Of course, getting updates is super valuable, but we have more time than just for that. And it's particularly maybe to engage all the commissioners in presenting in some form or fashion. So if you all could think about that and reach out to Capri and let us know how we can make these meetings most valuable for each of you.
Good. And like I said, I think we could even talk with some of you guys about not only your legal expertise, but maybe even as we reach out and do some communications work. And the other thing that I think is really important to know is we'll be doing, you know, some events, and I think we sent out the information even for the COVID equity immigrant affairs work that we're doing, and to help us with some of the outreach for like the department in general, but particularly once the commission gets up and going on the enforcement end to do that outreach. So I really appreciate, like, I mean, you guys are lawyers and, you know, experts in your respective fields, and it's a talent base that we don't want to miss out on. So thank you for that. Thank you for the offers that will be coming without violating the Brown Act. Heather, she gave us a thumbs up. All right, is there anything else, commissioners? All right, Jemana or Commissioner Campos, do you want to take the floor?
Sure, thank you. Thank you so much. The only thing we have left today is the announcements, if there are any commissioner announcements. Oh, well, there being none, we can adjourn this meeting. Do we need a motion for that? Yeah.
Yes, we actually will need a motion, and I'll do a roll call, but just a very quick note to the public, those of our public members who are following this meeting. All materials related to this meeting are available on our website at Civil and Human Rights at lacity.org. So that includes agendas, minutes, as well as the presentation that was shared during the meeting today. So I just wanted to make sure that members of the public who wish to access these documents can do so via our website. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Commissioner Campos, for a motion to adjourn, and I will do roll call.
Great. Can we please get a motion to adjourn?
Before, I wanted to Commissioner Campos, just for a moment before we adjourn, I just wanted to alert to our audio listeners that we are posting on the screen a memoriam for Councilman Tom Labonge that will be also on our website as we adjourn in his honor. Commissioner Campos?
Wonderful. Okay. So we will be adjourning today in honor and memory of Councilmember Tom Labonge. May we have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn. Commissioner Montes.
Commissioner Montes, is there a second?
I second. Commissioner Zielinski.
Commissioner Zielinski seconds. All in favor? I'll turn it over to Jemima.
Thank you. Commissioner Campos?
Yes.
Commissioner Ivey?
Yes.
Commissioner Montes?
Yes.
Commissioner Zielinski?
Yes.
And all in favor. Meeting is adjourned at 3:06.
Thank you, everyone. I did want to flag before you go for the commissioners that we'd like to take a commission photo.